cup is soft today, and baby, everyone feels fake.
These are what I would like to call my cool tone lip glosses or my pink tone lip glosses. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to be decluttering any of these, so let's just very briefly run through them. So I've swatched them here on the inside of my wrist. So right at the top we have this. This is the Clarins Instant Lip Perfector in the shade 08. This was one of the lip products that I forgot I owned at the start of my no-buy year, and then when I was moving I found this stuffed into a random purse stuffed in the back of my closet. So I actually bought this product because years ago, before Meghan Markle became the Duchess of Sussex, when she was just an actress on Suits, she had given an interview where she had discussed all of her favorite makeup products and the things that she had used a lot, and the Clarins Instant Light Lip Perfector was one of the things on her list. Now the shade that she used religiously was the shade 01, which is a much lighter kind of corally color, and this is one of those situations where it was I loved Meghan Markle's character Rachel on Suits so much, way back in the day, and I identified with Rachel so much that I, an aspiring lawyer, thought that by buying a thing that Meghan Markle wore as the character Rachel Zane on Suits, I could get one step closer to being my fantasy self, who would love to be a lawyer working at a firm like Pearson Hardman as depicted on the show Suits. So this was a thing that I bought to really try and achieve the fantasy version of myself. Like I said, the color that Meghan Markle herself used was the shade 01. It was much, much lighter than this shade 08, which, as you can hopefully see, is a very, very pretty, muted plum color. Even though my reason for buying this was absolutely ridiculous and not a thing that I would at all condone now that I'm almost 8 months into my no-buy year, this is actually a really beautiful product. Since I rediscovered it while cleaning for my move earlier this year, I've been using it a lot. It adds a very beautiful plummy mauve flush of color to my lips. It's a very easy way to just liven up a very basic look. It's not overly sticky. The gloss just has a sugary, slightly vanilla-y scent. It's not bothersome at all. And so I'm definitely gonna keep it and continue using it this fall. Next up, we have the most obscene thing in my lip gloss collection. Okay, so this is the YSL Tint and Balm in the shade number 11. It is this second color on my hands right here. So as you can see, compared to the Clarins lip gloss up here, this is actually a much warmer tone pink berry color. This was part of the gift that I mentioned in my blush declutter. It was one of the 3 pieces of YSL makeup that my friend bought for me after she got her really good job. Because she and I used to joke that if you ever pay $40, which is how much this product costs in Canada, I think it's something like $40. If you're ever paying that amount of money for a lip gloss, that's how you know you're bougie and you've made it. And so she bought this for me. It's insane. It's obscene. I would absolutely never spend this amount of money on a gloss for myself. I've worn it a grand total of once since she got this for me. I think in large part because I've just had this weird fear around it. Oh my god, this is so expensive. It's so insanely special. I shouldn't be using it. But now, having gone through this really intense decluttering process of all of my bronzers and blushes and all of my other lip products, I'm no. That's an absolute scam. And instead of treating this like it's some sort of precious jewel lip gloss and so rarely using it that odds are this product will go bad before I'm able to finish up, I'm just going to use it like every other lip gloss. I will say that the one time I did end up using this product, it was really, really interesting because it's not quite the standard lip gloss formula. The standard lip gloss formula, as you might be able to tell from my arms, it's a lot thinner, it's a lot less pigmented, and it's a lot more glossy. And this Yves Saint Laurent product, although it's kind of classified as a gloss or a balm, it doesn't quite share many of the qualities that the glosses on my arm have, as you're hopefully able to see. It's a lot less intensely glossy and shiny, and it's also a lot more pigmented. And I don't know if all of them do this or if just this particular one does. I find that this color actually changes color once it's on my lips. So when I first put this on, it looks a lot more like orangey, warm toned and light than I think it should. Because I looked up the name of this because the tube of this just says like number 11 or whatever on the bottom. And when I looked it up, I remembered seeing that the name actually had the word like berry or plum or something in the title. And when I first put it on my lips, I was like, this is neither a berry nor a plum color. This is like very, very orangey tone. But after like 10 minutes on my lips, it had darkened to a much more berry color than what it had initially started out as. So I don't know if that was a thing that it was like meant to do. I don't know if all of the colors in the range do it. I don't know if I have like a wonky gloss, but that is a thing that I noticed the one time that I wore this. Anyway, I'm keeping it because every time I see it, I just like think of my friend and I laugh. And also, quite frankly, on a purely cosmetic level, it's a pretty color. I'm gonna stop treating it like it's some like precious rare jewel and just use it like an actual gloss, because if I actually used up every last drop of this, I would get infinitely more satisfaction from it than if I used it so sparingly that one day I opened it to find that it had like gone bad and I'd only ever used half of it up. Moving on to these last two cool tone glosses. This is the Lancome Juicy Shaker in the shade Piece of Cake. It is this third shade down on my arm right here. As you can see, it's like a very sort of sheer, not super pigmented, like mauvey pink shade. And quite frankly, this is a thing that I bought in like an absolute moment of madness. So I bought this because of one YouTuber. Her name is Camila Coelho, and she released a video once a really long time ago where she took the Urban Decay lip liner in the shade 1993, filled her entire lip with it, and then layered this particular gloss on top. And because I was a crazy person with the shopping problem, I saw how good that look looked on her, and then I pretty much immediately went out and I bought the Urban Decay lip liner in the shade 1993 and this lip gloss. And I've actually worn this exact combo on a video before. It's a good combo, like it looks good. But I think the vast majority of that is the lip liner. As you can see from my arm swatches, like this is a very, very faintly pigmented gloss. In terms of the overall look that I really liked on the YouTuber Camila Coelho, as well as on myself when I wore it, this was not the thing that was pulling a lot of weight. It was mostly the Urban Decay lip liner in 1993 that looked really good. For the sake of that look alone, I'm gonna keep this Lancome Juicy Shaker in Piece of Cake and like try and use it up. This was, however, like a supremely dumb purchase, right? In terms of lip gloss formulas, like if you were to ask me, okay, of these three relatively higher end lip glosses, like which ones did I think were worth the cost? No way in hell do I think this is worth $40, but I also don't think this is worth like the 20-something dollars that it was when I bought it. Right? Of these three, I would say this like Clarins Instant Light Natural Lip Perfector is my favorite formula, point blank, hands down. It has my favorite scent, it feels the best on my lips, it looks the most flattering on me, it gives me like a high shine gloss, it's not sticky, it's not tacky. Like, I don't think these are worth how much they cost at all, and more importantly, I don't think this is even a very, very good lip gloss formula. This doesn't feel very hydrating. Like, I think if you're a person who you like using lip glosses because you like that they feel sort of hydrating and juicy on your lips, ironically, the Lancome Juicy Shakers will not give you that. This is, of all four of these glosses, and actually of every single gloss I own, probably the least juicy of them all. However, like I said, I do really like using it in that one particular look, so I will keep it just for that. However, when it runs out, catch me dead in these streets before I repurchase one. The last cool tone lip gloss that I have is this one right here. And the reason why I just use those air quotes for cool tone is because even though this looks quite pink in the tube, as you can see, it's pretty much a clear gloss on my hands. There is the slightest whisper of a shade of pink, but it's primarily just a clear gloss with a bunch of shimmer packed in. So this is one of the iconic Lancome Juicy Tubes. So this is a thing that my friend who went to graduate school decluttered to me. The shade of this is Raspberry Ice. I tried to look this up to see if it was still available, but I don't even think they sell the Juicy Tubes in Canada anymore. So If you live in Canada, I don't even know if you can get your hands on these. Even if you live in the US, I don't know if this particular shade is available. I just know that like my friend decluttered this to me because she never used it. It's a very minty feeling gloss that causes sort of slight tingles on your lips, and my friend is like really not into that. So she used it like a couple of times and then she was like, this is a no from me, dog, and just never used it again. And now it's made its way to me. Since I cut my hair short about a year ago, I have like burned through a whole bunch of lip gloss. Prior to the start of my no-buy year, in the space between like September and February, I actually used up like 3 tubes of different lip glosses that I owned. Because for the first time in my life, I finally didn't have to worry about having long hair and then having it get stuck onto my lips on like a really windy day. So I'm keeping all 3 of these lip glosses. Let's move on to the warm tone lip glosses. So this first one here is the Etude House Cherry Moisture Lip Glow. It's in the shade OR201. It's definitely the brightest of all the lip glosses I own. It's also the only lip gloss that isn't brown toned and is actually more orangey tone. It's the first shade swatched onto my hands. Although it looks really like intimidatingly scary and bright in the tube, it's actually like a pretty sheer, nice, juicy orange coral of a lip gloss. I'm not going to talk about this at length because it was featured quite heavily in my like red orange lip product swatches video. It was also the gloss I was wearing when discussing my summer favorites, and although I literally just laid this lip gloss down so you can't see it properly, if I were to stand the lip gloss up and just let the product settle, like you'd see that the product only comes up to like here when it was in fact all the way full when I first received this lip gloss from my friend. So this is genuinely like one of my favorite lip glosses in my collection. I've gotten such an immense amount of joy out of using it. Although it's called the Cherry Moisture Lip Glow, it thankfully does not smell like cherries at all. Like it does not have that medicinal cough syrupy cherry smell, for which I'm so infinitely grateful because I hate that. So this is a definite keep. Odds are by the end of next summer it will be completely used up. Okay, so the next warm tone lip gloss is this NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Praline. I'm gonna say something like really weird and controversial right here. Of all of the lip glosses currently on the table, so this is from Etude House, NYX, Bite, Pat McGrath, and Fenty Beauty, this lip gloss formula is my favorite formula. You know how I said I like burned through a couple of lip gloss tubes between September 2018 and February 2019? They were these NYX Butter Glosses because I love them so much. So here's a fun fact about these lip gloss tubes. The sides of these lip gloss tubes aren't colored. The lip gloss tube's actually clear. So what you're seeing right here, right now, this opacity, that's the actual color of the lip gloss. As you increasingly use this lip gloss up, you'll see that the container is actually completely clear. So these are really beautifully pigmented lip glosses, but they aren't sticky, they aren't tacky, they aren't gloopy, they aren't even patchy. Like I've used some of the darker colors in this range and they go on really nicely. I find in my experience that they also tend to not like gather in the fine lines and crevices on my lips. Of all of the lip gloss shades that I own, this particular NYX gloss in the shade Praline is, as you are hopefully able to see, it's the coolest shade of brown. It's a brown with a little bit of gray, a little bit of pink. Like on my hand, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's like quite pretty, that's quite flattering. However, the reality is I just like don't reach for this at all. I think it's because it's like a little more of like a greigey brown and I just tend not to reach for that color. If I'm wearing a lip gloss, I tend to find that I'm doing so not because I want to like dull down my natural lip color, but because I want to add a little bit of life back into it. And this I find doesn't really do that. Like this is a great lip gloss for like muting down a lip, and that is just not what I really use lip glosses for, right? I know there are a lot of people who are like really into like a nude lip gloss type of a situation, and this would have been kind of like the perfect one for me, but that's just not me. And the fact that I know I have a history of going through lip glosses so quickly, but this one has been languishing in my collection for months and months and months without any real signs of use, it's probably a sign that I should just let it go. Because honestly, since the start of my no-buy year, with the exception of my actual lip swatch video, I haven't really reached for this even once. So I think I'm ready to just kind of let this go. These remaining 3 warm tone glosses, this is the Bite French Press gloss in the shade Chai. So it's this 3rd shade down over here. It's this sort of like warm, slightly rosy tinted shade of brown. I think the idea with this lip gloss was that if you really like the lipstick shade Chai, you would also enjoy this like dirtier, browner version of it, because the Chai lipstick is actually quite pink. A brown tone pink, but still quite pink. I will, however, say that I think this lip gloss formula got like crazy overhyped. One of the reasons why I felt like this lip gloss was so hyped is because people were insistent that this wasn't tacky, it wasn't sticky, that it was this like perfect formula. And I find that, especially if I like compare it to this NYX Butter Gloss, like this is slightly tacky and slightly sticky. Like it doesn't glide quite so smoothly over the lips the way that this one does. And if I press my lips together, there's definitely more resistance with this than with any of these other formulas before my lips come apart. Also, this smells really strongly of coffee, just as a heads up for people who don't like scents. I actually really like the scent of coffee, so I don't mind it at all. But of all the lip glosses here, with the exception of possibly the Fenty Gloss Bomb, this is the one that has the most lingering of a scent. It's not the greatest formula in the world. I think it's definitely a little bit overhyped, but it is like a very sort of pretty everyday color. It adds like a nice rosy brown tinge to my lips when I put it on. It's a very easy and effortless lip gloss for those days where I just want to do like a very beautiful winged eyeliner and a nice glossy lip. So I'm gonna keep it, but when it runs out, I definitely don't think I'll repurchase it. Next, let's discuss this mini size of the Pat McGrath lip gloss in the shade Flesh 4. So this is one of those lip glosses that's part of that mini Lust Gloss trio that Pat McGrath put out. This is the warm tone shades, obviously. And my friend, the one who's going to grad school, she bought that trio for the lighter two colors. So I think one of them is called Bronze Temptation, and then the other one is called Flesh and Fantasy or something like that. And she loves those colors. She uses them all the time. This particular color, Flesh 4, as you can see by the swatch on my hand, is a really beautiful, rich, reddish brown lip gloss. It's not overly pigmented, but it definitely has like a vibrant enough color to it. And my friend really doesn't like wearing lip glosses this deep, and so she literally never even used this. She didn't open it. She gave it to me completely unused, and she asked me if I wanted to try it out. So I swatched it on the back of my hand, and I was intrigued because I've never really thought to try a gloss this dark. And then I put it on my lips, and I was like, my life had been changed. I don't know why, but before I tried out this lip gloss, I had never given much thought to trying out darker, richer, brownish red lip glosses. Like that was just not a thing I had ever even thought to wear. I've been wearing it like crazy ever since I first got it. Like it is a stunningly beautiful color. I love it so much. However, this lip gloss is 40 Canadian dollars. That's madness, love. Like, what? I go through lip gloss way too quickly to ever pay that amount of money for a lip gloss. And so for a while, I was like in a state of crisis because this is such a beautiful color. It looks so good on me. Every single time I wear it, I get so many compliments. But like, while I'm okay with spending $40 on a lipstick, because a lipstick will last me for like months and months leading into years, I refuse to throw my money away on a lip gloss that I will burn through in like 3 months or less. So, you know, I've been like sitting here using this lip gloss, loving it, being mad at myself for loving it, being devastated at what's gonna happen when it's gone because I can see it like rapidly decreasing in the tube itself. And fortunately for me, when Hannah Louise Poston did her most recent round of a lip product declutter, she mentioned that Revlon had come out with a bunch of new glosses. And one of the glosses, I think the shade was called Indulge in It, looked remarkably similar to this Pat McGrath lip gloss. So I'm at least a little bit reassured by the idea that there exist other beautiful reddish brown tone glosses at much more reasonable price points after this one is gone. That's truly such a relief to know because color-wise, of all of the colors that are here, this is absolutely my favorite. Like in terms of like makeup discoveries 2K19, the number one biggest one for me would have been orange lipstick. The number two would be pigmented dark reddish brown glosses. I'm so grateful to my friend for decluttering this to me. I'm grateful that I got to try this out because this has like expanded my repertoire of makeup looks, but I will absolutely not be repurchasing once this is gone. For now though, I will keep it and use it all the way up. And lastly, we have here the iconic Fenty Gloss Bomb. So here's the deal. I love this gloss formula. The only reason why this NYX Butter Gloss actually won over the Fenty Gloss Bomb is because I prefer the smell of the NYX Butter Glosses over the Fenty Gloss Bomb. The Fenty Gloss Bomb has a very, very fruity, bubblegummy scent. It smells like some sort of chapstick I would have used when I was like 12 or something in middle school. There's something very, very nostalgic about it, but I personally am more into things that smell like vanilla than things that smell fruity and bubblegummy. It's just a personal preference. I actually think these two formulas are relatively on par. I just prefer the scent of this a little bit more than I do the scent of this Fenty Gloss Bomb. Of all of the swatches on my arm, even though this looks like a very beautiful, rich, coppery, reddish brown in the tube, up against my skin tone, this is basically a clear lip gloss. And therein lies my other gripe with this Fenty Gloss Bomb. There is an iconic beauty YouTuber out here. If you aren't following her channel, you absolutely should. Her name is Nisa and her handle is Nisi Pisa. And she actually perfectly expressed the lament I have about the Fenty Gloss Bomb, which is that this is too light of a color. Even on my like very medium skin tone, keeping in mind that my lips are more pigmented than my actual skin, this is at best a clear gloss. At worst, it is a gloss that is lighter than the actual shade of my lip. It's basically like a shimmery nude lip gloss. And what I've wanted more than anything in this world ever since this lip gloss came out is for Rihanna to release darker versions of the Fenty Gloss Bomb. That is also what Nisa has wanted. And unfortunately, it seems like Robin, Rihanna, Fenty hates both me and Nisa. After the original Gloss Bomb, she came out with the Diamond Milk, which is like a disgusting silvery white. Because after the original Gloss Bomb, she came out with the Diamond Milk, which is like a disgusting silvery white color. It looks horrible on my actual lips, lads. I have tried it out in the stores before. I look like the worst version of the early 2000s that you could possibly imagine. It's really not a good look. And then the other color, Fussy, is an even paler shade of pink than this sort of rosewoody color. Rihanna really like threw her middle fingers right up at me, and the sad thing is I thanked her for it and bought the Fenty Gloss Bomb anyway, because I'm her bitch. That's just how it is. And literally earlier today, before I sat down to declutter this, I saw a couple of videos discussing like the new holiday releases, and Rihanna is finally releasing shades of the Fenty Gloss Bomb that are a little bit darker. So there's like a very beautiful juicy corally color that I think is a bit reminiscent of this, and most intriguingly for me, there is like a richer, darker brown version of the Fenty Gloss Bomb. Unfortunately for me, my no-buy-year doesn't just last till December 31st, 2019, it actually lasts till February 5th, 2020. So I can only hope that those colors are so exceedingly popular that Rihanna decides to add them permanently into her line, because I would love, absolutely love to be able to replace this Pat McGrath lip gloss once it runs out with the much darker version of the Fenty Gloss Bomb. So I'm definitely like very, very excited at that holiday release, even though like I can't buy it for myself. I'm excited for the possibility of it being permanent. I'm excited to finally have a Fenty gloss which gives me like 100% instead of like an 80%, which is what this is for me. It's good, I love it. I use it primarily as like a clear gloss. I definitely get a lot of value out of it, but if I'm being like melodramatic, like I wouldn't die for her, is basically what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, end result of my warm tone glosses, I'm keeping these four and decluttering this NYX Butter Gloss in Praline. Again, this is literally my favorite formula out of all of these, but I just never reach for this color. So into the box she goes. Alrighty, so at the end of this video, here's everything that's staying for sure right now. Here are the things that are currently sort of in purgatory testing, and these are the two items that are being decluttered. I'm actually really happy with how this looks in the end because I wasn't rash. I didn't declutter things purely for the sake of decluttering. I really thought through everything and how much I use it, and only kind of got rid of the things that I was like, yeah, I'm not reaching for this at all, and I don't want to bring this forward with me. So let me see if I can cut to what it looks like after I try and put everything into my lip product storage. All right, so this is the end result of my entire lip declutter. I met my end goal, which was to get every single thing that I've chosen to keep, including all of the items that are in purgatory, to be able to fit perfectly without any sort of like overlapping layers into these two drawers of my Muji container. This 3CE Take a Layer lip product, it's basically going to be housed with all of my blushes in this container here, and all of that stuff over there is the stuff that I'm going to be decluttering. This is what I wanted, just for everything to fit in this first drawer and this second drawer of my Muji container. And they do now. Ta-da! My battery is rapidly running out, so before it dies completely, I'd like to thank you so much for watching through this entire very long and extended series. As always, I hope you have a great upcoming week, and even if the rest of your week ends up becoming messy and imperfect, I hope that you're still able to create and experience some truly beautiful moments. Thanks for watching. Bye!